Welcome to the All-Star Math Video Tutor. This is Mrs. Dorlis, and the topic of this lesson is inequalities and their graphs. Well, let's talk about how we graph an inequality in one variable. We use a number line, and it's real important to understand parts of the number line. We have a 0 in the middle, and to the right we have positive numbers, and to the left we have our negative numbers, so that we know where we are on the number line. Now let's talk about the word inequalities. Inequalities are made up of the following. They can be a less than, a greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. That's where the word inequality comes from. It is not an equal sign. It still creates two equivalent expressions connected to each other. Now when we graph them, when we talk about less than or greater than, we use an open dot on the number line. And it's important to notice that it's an open dot because it does not include that particular number. So then when we do less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, because of the equal sign there, half an equal sign, we're going to use a closed dot because it's going to include that number on the number line. So let's take a look at a couple examples of how we would graph inequalities. First, let's take a look at m is greater than 5. So we want to find positive 5 on the number line, and here it is. And because this is a greater than, there is no equal to, it is not going to include 5. So we're going to put an open dot right on 5. And you will notice that I put the dot right on the number line. Do not put it above it, do not put it below it, but right on the number line. Now, this m is saying that it was numbers larger than 5. Well, we find numbers larger than 5 to the right of 5, such as 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to draw a darker line right on top of the number line, and we're going to put an arrow because it's going to go on forever. We're only showing the first few numbers, but there are lots of numbers that are larger than 5, more than that we could list here. And that's why we have the arrow that keeps on going. Let's take a look at another problem. R is less than or equal to negative 3. Well, let's find negative 3 on our number line, and here it is. And because of this equal sign, we're going to give it a closed dot. Okay? And again, on the number line, not above it, not below it, right on it. Now, because we want numbers less than negative 3, we find numbers that are less than negative 3 to the left of negative 3, such as negative 8, negative 9. So we want to go in that direction. So we're going to draw an arrow. We're going to darken a little bit here. And we're going to draw an arrow that goes that way to the left and continues on forever. And that will be the graph of this one. Let's take a look at another one, and where we have t is greater than or equal to negative 2. So let's find negative 2 on our number line. There it is. And because of the equal sign, it will be a closed dot. And because we want numbers larger than negative 2, those would be numbers that we would find over here towards the right, like 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to draw an arrow towards those numbers, right on the number line. We're not going to do it above the line or below the line, but right on the number line. So we can show that we're including those numbers. Because we're trying to include not only the whole numbers, but all these fractions in between. They're going to include all of those numbers. Okay, I have one more example for you. Let's take a look at this. Now this looks a little bit different. We were looking at inequalities when the variable was on the left. This time the variable is on the right. But we still can solve it and graph it. 4 is greater than or equal to j. Well, let's find 4 on our number line, and here it is. And this is going to be a closed hole because of the equal sign. So let's put a solid dot there on number 4. Now let's read this. 4 is larger than or equal to j. Well, if 4 is the largest that j can be, j is pretty small. So j has to go to the left. So we want all the numbers that are smaller than 4. And then we're going to draw an arrow towards that direction. So that's going to include all these numbers we see, 3, 2, 1, and on, but also in between, like 1/2, 3/4, 2.5. All those numbers are all less than 4. And that's why we draw a line right on the number line. And that is the end of this All-Star Math video lesson.